Voice, and we're glad you're here. Our guest speaker tonight is Miss Tracilea Young, and your story, Tracilea, is, powerful. And I just can't wait to share this with everybody and to let them hear your heart and to hear your passion and to hear your story. And to just be able to share. And anybody that has any questions, obviously we can do that. But to tell y'all a little bit about Tracilea Young. Who is Tracilea Young? I've been following Tracy and we've been friends for quite a while now, but listen to this. Tracilea is the mother of 8 children, all of which she personally homeschooled for 17 years, while at the same time working part-time in her direct sales business, her relationship marketing business. Her husband, she did not plan on being a single mom, but she ended up 2 years ago. Her husband lost his battle with cancer, and Tracilea continued to move forward. As a matter of fact, partnered with a company that was a startup company and rose to the top of that company and is one of the top income earners with that company, if not the top income earner, and one of the top income earners in our industry as a whole. And I know that you have thrown yourself into the business. I can't imagine. First, let me say that, Tracilea, welcome to the MLM Voice. I'm glad you're here tonight. Well, and thank you for that, and I appreciate that. But you're in the spotlight tonight. You're in the limelight tonight, and well deserved. I just can't imagine, and I really, my heart goes out to you and to your children and your family, losing your husband after that many years, and y'all had a large family of 8 children, and not only that, but you are the president of a large plastic surgery and med spa chain, and I think you just sold one of your locations. Is that right? Mm-hmm. There you go. Well, it's not like you didn't have enough to do and enough on your plate. So, with having 8 children and raising 8 kids, I wonder, first of all, I want to say to the people in the room, welcome to the room. You're going to get some great pearls of wisdom, and Tracy's story is powerful. But at the bottom of your screen, you see a plus sign, and we're going to also take questions here in a few minutes. If you want to speak, you can push your microphone, you can raise your hand. We'll bring you up so that you can ask questions and of Tracilea. And it's just amazing, your story, Tracilea. And so I like to invite people that who would benefit from hearing this young lady's amazing story of just, when we look at situations and we look at what we're doing in life. And I just said to somebody on a call the other day, I said, or 2 days ago, I said, when somebody tells me, well, I just don't have time, or I've got this or I've got that going on, I say, let me tell you about a young lady. And when you want to talk about how much time you have and what you're doing, let me tell you about a lady whose time limits were just, constrained. So talk a little bit about the path, just what leading up to, having 8 children at home, building a business on a part-time basis, and just, tell the folks who are listening what your story is, whether they're listening live, whether you're listening on the recording on my MLM Voice group page or whatever. If you would, just share your story of how you got started in the business and carry us up until today, if you would.
I wanted to find a way to, kick cancer's booty and make this reality that we'd been given kind of just a nightmare rather than, real life. And that is that's how I immersed myself in the cannabis industry is really trying to understand how this plant could be helpful. And it was amazing. He literally lived for 4.5 years, riding his bike and skiing and surfing, and we were camping and boating. And it was one heck of a journey. And the day that he died, Thanksgiving Day 2018, I instantly became not only the sole financial provider for my children, but I was also the sole spiritual and physical and emotional support for them. And so I had to figure out how it was going to be for us moving forward. There was no life insurance. There was none of those things, and that's a story in itself. But I sat down and I had to figure out, what does my dream team look like? And I mapped it out, and then I had to write, what does the perfect leader for that dream team look like? And how am I going to grow every single day to become that leader for that team? And that's really where I've been for the last couple of years, is really, really trying to become the leader that I would have wanted in any of the other, arenas that I've kind of dabbled in. And here we are. I've got, all of my 8 children are amazing people. I'm so blessed as a mom and as an entrepreneur and as a team leader. My team is unbelievable. I don't know how I got blessed enough to have the cream of the crop that I did.
Yeah. And so, was getting into when you started in the direct sales business, when you're homeschooling children and I'm sitting here listening to your story going, okay, so let's see, that wasn't enough. You decided to go to college. That wasn't enough. You started to go to medical school. That one. So where do you see yourself going in the future? Because you're just climbing this huge mountain, and it seems like you're just, chasing, people say you chase perfection, you very often capture excellence. And what would you do if you slowed down?
What I really want to do is I want to be in a place where, and I don't know how you ever get there, because oftentimes that's looked at as, when you're finished with this, what's next? But I don't really ever want to finish. But I do want to get to a place where I'm fulfilled and I am satisfied enough that I can give back. Not just give back to, a team, which is what I'm doing now, but I want to give back to the community, right? When I think about people that I have really, really looked up to and really appreciated as people that have kind of walked the path before me, I think about people like Princess Diana. Think about how much of a leader she was, really worldwide. She had tremendous global humanitarian efforts, and she always said that she didn't live by a rule book, right? She led from her heart, not from her head. And that's where I want to be. I want to be able to have not only the financial resources, but also the time resources to be able to go out into the community, whether it's, where I'm at, or gosh, how awesome would it be to be able to make a global impact and be able to make a difference in people's lives, because I have the ability to do that. I don't have to be strapped to a desk or, some community. I can be wherever I need to be able to give.
Yeah. I know there's probably some ladies or people, period, who want to join in and ask questions. The one question that I have for you is, a lot of people feel like, that, gosh, I just don't have time. How do I have time to build a successful business, not just a part-time business, but you've built a huge multi-6-figure income, international team of rock stars. How are you able to manage your time?
Well, I certainly have to be organized, but I learned that way back when I was, homeschooling and medical school and my own business and my side hustle. But what I learned is that when you believe with a really big passion that what you're doing is right, you almost feel ethically obligated to share it, right? And so for me, it's a matter of planning my day before my day begins. My next week is already planned, and certainly there's things that pop up here or there, but even my next month is planned, and I can fit whatever I need into the little time slots in between all the things that I need to do, and it's always been that way. I don't know anybody that can just sit down and say, okay, I've got 7 hours today to do what needs to be done to build my business. It's all done in nooks and crannies, right? It's all done with an hour here or 30 minutes there. And, I travel enough that my time on an airplane is spent, reading and organizing and supporting those around me, as well as reaching out. So I say, build where you are, and where you are, you build.
There you go. Hey, one question, and then I'll kind of open it up for those who want to chime in here. I see Denise flashing her.
Also, Alan, I think anybody that wants to build needs to really focus on their belief system, because their belief is really what's going to put their passion into action, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you will never, you'll never out-earn, you'll never outrank, and you're never going to achieve any more than what you believe that you can earn, rank, or achieve.
Sure.
And so build your belief system. I write out my goals, and I write them out in great detail. I record them on my voice notes, and I listen to them every single day. And then I redo them at least every 90 days, if not every month. So I've got voice notes that for hours and hours and hours and days and days and days, I can listen to my voice notes, just reminding me, that I can succeed. And I always talk about everything, in the present tense. So it's not I'm going to do, it is I am doing, I am living, I am, I am everything that I expect myself to be. I am the best person. I always like to lead with truth, light, love, and grace. And if I'm doing that, then the blessings are going to follow.
Hey, for sure. And I know you do that. And I know you care tremendously about your team and your family. Now, you have a home on the West Coast and a home on the East Coast. Isn't that right?
I do. Yes. I have a home in California and a home in Florida.
So where do your 8 children live? Or do they just follow you around on a bus?
A little bit of both. I have got 4 in California that live with me. One of them is actually going to relocate to Tennessee, doing her externship. She's just graduated from the Culinary Institute of America in Napa, and she's going to go do her externship in Tennessee at Blackberry Farm, which is very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And I live with one in Florida. And then next door, I've got another one that lives here with his girlfriend. And I've got a son that lives in Tucson, Arizona, and a daughter that lives in Aurora, Colorado. I've got 6 grandchildren sprinkled throughout all of that. But they're all over. I've got my baby here. I flew him to Florida a couple of weeks ago. And so he spent the last 2 weeks here in Florida working and playing and doing all the things. I love my people. We have so much fun. So they often travel with me, and it's great.
That's awesome. I know, Denise, you were flashing your mic. Did you have a question for Tracy Lee?
Well, gosh, Tracy Lee, I've heard you on Clubhouse. I think maybe it was yesterday for the first time, and I was so inspired by some of the things you said, and your story is so inspiring. And you just talked about being able to have a global impact or an impact even just in this country. But girl, you are already doing it, because your story by itself is so powerful to share. And I'm so excited that you're on platforms like this to share that story, because I think that so many people need to hear it. Not necessarily, that we think, oh man, what a slug am I need to step it up.
I think everybody's got something, and everybody's got challenges and all that kind of stuff. And
exactly.
Yeah.
But those are a lot of challenges, and you could have had a different story, but you made a choice to have a positive outcome. And you've made great impacts on your kids. It sounds like everybody is great and on their way, right? And I feel like you sharing what you just shared really impacts all of us, and inspires us all to keep going. So I really appreciate all of your words.
Thank you. I appreciate that. What I was talking to Alan the other day, and I told him, I give bits and pieces of my story, and those are the ones I've come to grips with. But there's so much each one of us has in their story, and a big part of my story that I haven't ever shared is that, like I had said earlier. We were doing very well. Corporate America was treating us well. Life was great. And I went home to be a mom and do all the things that, my heart wanted to do. And the next chapter was a little bit scary. My husband was let go at a moment's notice. They told him he was too old for the position that he was having. He was working in the sports field, and although he was very athletic and got along well with other athletes and all of them, he was in an age bracket that just didn't coincide with the up and coming athletes, and so he was let go. And I don't know, he kind of got into this space where he'd worked hard his whole life, and he didn't want to get another job. He wanted to have a break, and so he did. And then it was difficult to get a job. He was getting older, and it was hard. And I'll tell you, difficult to talk about, difficult to admit and to say, but we literally went from living high on the hog and thinking that we were living the dream to being homeless, living in a 15-passenger van with 6 children. And maybe it was lack of sleep, because that's an impossible situation to get good sleep. I decided that I was never going to be a prisoner of my situation. And the only way to make a change is to get out and make it happen. And that's what I did. And I did get a job. I went to work at 2 a.m. Selling custom limousines. How exciting is that? And then I'd get home at about 10 a.m. to homeschool my children for the day. And it was hard, and it was also very rewarding. And that's when I really took the reins and decided that if it's going to be, it's up to me. And I wouldn't take any excuses from myself or anybody else. And I taught my children from day one that there's no entitlement. If you want something, get after it, and let's, map it out. Whatever you want in this life, you can have, you can achieve, and there are no excuses. So, I'm a firm believer that if we all walked into, the kitchen and laid our problems on the table, when it was time to leave, we'd pick up our own. Nobody else has any problems that are bigger than your own. And so, you can handle this. You can do this. And it's just what I've done every single day. And we all have ups and we all have downs. And it's just a matter of when you're down, you've got to get back up again. And if you have that mindset, it's achievable.
What a strong, it's amazing. A lot of people that we run into in this industry, in the direct sales industry, we say that this is a personal development business with a compensation plan attached. And a lot of people find themselves in a situation where they can choose to take the bull by the horns, as you did, and say enough is enough, and here I go, and I'm not going to accept any excuses. And some people, struggle with that. You said that you went to work at 2 a.m, and I'm thinking 2 a.m, you just drove your house over there, and then just had to got out of you back into your house, and with 6 kids in a 16 passenger van. That is impressive. And I just want to commend you for being strong enough and having enough faith to continue to push forward. Does anybody else have any questions or they'd like to comment on what Tracy Lee's had to say?
Tracy Lee, it's Denise again. I just wanted to ask you, do you feel like the challenges that were put forth in front of you helped you develop who you are to be able to do those things? And what advice would you give to somebody with regard to that?
I absolutely do. And I think that everybody's story is that way. You can take it and you can use it for the greater good of whatever your future holds. And that's the way I've always looked at it. The challenges are never fun. I don't think they're good. They're not enjoyable. But what you learn from them, I'm often asked, if I would change any part of the challenge of being homeless, would I change it? No. As crazy as that sounds, I wouldn't, because it did. It gave me everything that I needed to be the person that I am today. And I can feel myself. I'm going to start crying. It's and I believe that anybody can be wherever they want to. What would I say? I would encourage people to. I don't think people write things out enough and write them in detail. What you want? What is your goal? What is your why? Most people don't even know what their real why is. And I encourage you, one of the greatest things that I ever went through was with Dean Graziosi, and that was his 7 layers of why, or 7 levels of why. Hugely impactful for me. I gotta sit down. I am shaking. When you find your why, you will always be able to find a how. You will get everything that you need. And it's just a matter of, tighten up your bootstraps and focus on that why. And you will absolutely have every tool in the toolbox that you need to get there. It's like anybody that's got children. If your child was in a very dangerous situation, you would do everything in your power to bring that child to safety. And the same is true for getting your life where you want it to be. For me, my why is my children. And so I feel like they are in that burning house. And all I'm doing every single day is I am fighting to get to them in that house and bring them to safety. And the only way to do that is to one foot in front of the other and be as organized as I can, be as grateful as I can, and really be the person of integrity that we all should be. Because people aren't necessarily going to want your product or service. What they're going to want to do is be in business with you. And the only way that you're going to get that is to be the best version of you that you can be.
I love that you say that, Tracy Lee. When you partner with a company, has it been 2 years ago that you partner with your current company?
Yep, almost exactly. Yes.
Almost exactly 2 years ago. And this was a startup company, right?
Correct. They started February 6th of 2019. Yes.
And so, what a challenge that is, and how, so when you bring on that new person, I know you were in the direct sales business before that. I think my first company that I looked at many years ago, telling my age, I think it was 1983, maybe, was that same company where they invited me to go to a party, and I had no idea it was that kind of party, but Amway's parties were throwing the circles on the board. But when you bring that new person on, and so y'all grew rapidly, you grew fast, and a lot of it had to do with all of y'all in the field out there making it happen with a new company, with a somewhat new product line. How did you find those leaders, and what did you tell them? What was the vision you created for them when you first brought them on board with you?
Well, the vision is really educating them, about the benefits of the products that we have, educating them. Also, they have to know that they're going to be supported. And I think that that's something that's lacking in this industry is, people want to sign up, the rock stars, but they don't necessarily want to teach them and train them and be as supportive as they should be. And so for me, that's been a huge part of being there for my team, is to be that support and doing weekly check-ins and doing the team Zooms and the three-way calls and everything that is necessary there. And you know what is, as we all know in this industry, it's not necessarily who you know, but it's who do they know. And I've got a couple of my biggest rock stars I didn't know. I signed up somebody who didn't really want to build the business, and they did the introduction, and that person took off, and that happened 3 times, thankfully. And certainly it's happened, to varying degrees throughout my organization, but it's that's very important for me when I sign up a new advocate, is to sit down with them and get their list of contacts and let's work them. And I want to create a relationship with their contacts as well, so that, if something happens to the person that I brought in, if they decide this isn't, their cup of tea or whatever the reason is, I've created a relationship with their people, and they know that they're being supported, and they just continue to grow or introduce you to even more people.
There you go. There you go. Has the last year affected how y'all are doing business with the pandemic?
Only in a really good way. I'm blown away by the amount of growth we've had throughout the pandemic. I still believe there really is no shortage of money. It's just there's a shortage of knowledge on how to obtain it. And if you're working with a group of people that are motivated and coachable, you can do nothing but grow.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it is so great to hear your story. And I had somebody who, let me see if I can find that, sent me a question. If anybody else has a question for Tracy Lee, please raise your hand or feel free to flash your mic or unmute your mic while I try to find this message here. Somebody sent me, I'm struggling here because I've got multiple things going on, and multitasking for me is not always the best, when you get a little bit of ADD going. It said, I'm trying to figure out what this question is. Do you spend most of your time on the East Coast or West Coast? And does your family? Oh, this says, does your family travel with you? I think you already answered that.
Yeah, I'm about half and half most of the time. Opening up this clinic has kind of thrown my schedule off. I've been in Florida for about 6 weeks, but normally I'm 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off in either state.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, hey, listen, does anybody have any more questions that they would like to ask Tracy Lee? If not, I've got another question that I would like for you to answer. But if anybody does, I want to open the floor for them and see if they have something they'd like to discuss or share maybe, or a story to share. So here's my last question for you, Tracy Lee. What advice do you have, a person who is looking to become a leader in the industry? What do you feel is the best attribute of a leader in this industry? And what advice would you have for somebody who's wanting to become a top leader?
Probably, there's so, my favorite thing that you always say, Alan, is, it doesn't matter if you come from Yale or jail, you have the same opportunity. My advice would be simple, really, and it would be to live with positive expectancy. right? Change your mindset. Instead of looking at things as being wrong, look at them as being incomplete, and spend your time willing to do the work in order to complete them. And I think your everything about you, your energy, your amount of gratitude, and your ability to stand tall as a leader, shoulders back, head high, will change dramatically. It's just a matter of not looking at the negative. There's positive in every single thing. And I think we live in a world that really focuses on the negative. Look at our media, they want everything to be, doom and gloom. But, I don't live my life that way. I refuse to look at anything as wrong or bad. It's just a matter of being incomplete, and how can I change it for the better?
That's awesome. That's great advice. I don't ever watch the news. I don't, the weather maybe. And people will say to me all the time, did you see such and such happen? And I go, no, I did not.
The other part of it too, Alan, is,
I was talking, had my mic muted. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No worries. Having a team, whether you've got a team of 2 or a team of 2,000 or 200,000, right? You've got to be able to, or willing to do the do, right? You've got to do what you're asking your team to do. And whether it's for, my multi-level marketing business or my brick and mortars, I would never ask other people to do something that I'm not willing to do. I mean, heck, I was in the clinics today, cleaning toilets and, sweeping the floors and emptying garbage cans. I'm not afraid to do the work. And I think any leader has to have that same desire and willingness, is to go out and do the do themselves, do as I do.
Well, I think you're spot on with that. And clearly it shows in your history and the success that you've had. Leading by example is just so powerful. I know a lot of times people in the industry quickly want to become and get into management mode instead of continuing to build their team. And you hear all the time, the best way to continue to get your team to grow is to look for new stars and look for new people, and always be building your downline. And, if you want to have top enrollers, then be a top enroller. If you want to be a top recruiter, be a top recruiter, because it's no different than anything else you do. It's like playing golf. The more you swing the golf club, the better you're going to get. The more you invite, the better you're going to get. The more you work with people and do three-way calls, the better you're going to get. And that's what this business is all about, is just, you can't go to the gym once a week and expect to get into good shape. You have to go consistently and persistently to build a team. And I think you're so right with that. And that leading by example and being the leader, I always say this to people: become the leader that you expect your leaders to be. If you could picture and visualize the best leader, the best upline, the person that's just, look at these other rock stars, and then become that person. And because each one of us has that ability and has that opportunity. Well, Tracilea, it's been amazing speaking with you. I'm glad you came on. And for those of you who don't know, this is the MLM Voice, and we host this on Monday nights at 8 p.m. and Thursdays at 11 a.m. And we also have a Facebook group page called the MLM Voice, and you can look that up because we broadcast live on that as well, and on a YouTube channel as well. And we invite you to join us there and pick up pearls of wisdom and be part of our community, because we're all about helping people grow and learn and build their business and picking up pearls of wisdom as we grow. And so if any one of us can help you, follow the people up here on stage, click on their picture, their profile picture, and follow them on Instagram as well, because this is what this community is all about. This community is all about coming together, sharing wealth, sharing wisdom, sharing knowledge, and helping other people be successful. You see, just like Jim Rohn said, if you look at what Jim Rohn, for many people don't realize, started his success in the network marketing business. And he was sought after leader and sought after speaker all throughout the industry, not just in his company. But his belief was the more, and because this is so powerful, I want you to think about this. The final stage of learning is teaching, and the more you can teach, the better you get, just like swinging that golf club. And so it's great to hear from someone like yourself, Tracilea. If you're not following her, again, single mother, 8 children, top income earner in her company, one of the top income earners in the industry, been doing this for many years, has multiple other businesses she's got going on, homeschooled her kids, travels from the East Coast to the West Coast. I don't know how you do it. I guess maybe you're one of those aliens who never sleeps. I don't know. But I appreciate you coming on and sharing your information with everybody here on the call tonight. And I hope you have a wonderful evening. And thanks, everybody, for joining us.
Thanks, Alan.
Thank you, Tracy.